I'm trying to tell the Texan of the phenomenon of Pan in A minor. 100-piece orchestras of oil drums harmonizing the songs of slaves with the 12 notes of the Western scale in unheard of tonics and chords. See him grin broad. Acknowledge his goosebumps as I explain the baptismal swell of Savannah dust blooming like baby's breath amongst the bouquet of 100 pan men, 4 flag women, and a moko jumpy. Soak in the ego of my own description as if that is the source of his joy. Pretend I am not a man lost in the land of another. Pretend I am not telling the Texan of this, as much to keep my memories fresh as to share this pound of flesh that hurts more and more every day I move further away from home. As if my removal from the land of Cascadoo and last lap mass is not itself a tearing of flesh that neither of us is healed from, like my tattoos aren't a scarification ritual that reminds me I'm alive. The ink one big blue-black mark where Aruca, where Cascade, where the Savannah, where Trinidad was ripped from me. The Texan is laughing now as he tries to picture the bassman spinning like a rooster in a gael negotiating the sixth drum of bass. Laughing as he tries to mimic something he has never seen. 100 men jumping in unison as they make music. As they pogo like Maasai through the diminished fifth, and the Mokojumbi man is raised to a fever of exultation, and it is 3 a.m., and the Texan might as well not be listening, because I am shirtless and prancing. And for 5 minutes, renegades are on stage making Jit look like the genius he is again, and a woman in the tightest shorts between her and her god, and a gold tooth to the front, is offering me a heaping plate of pilau from a basket to wash down the full cup of hot rum in my hand, and the man still stemming the blood from his temple from the bottle thrown there half hour ago is smiling again. And for 5 minutes, the Texan is laughing background noise, and this muggy Brooklyn summer, the 4-story walk up the fire escape, and the gunshots in the distance are somebody's cruel idea of a joke, and me and Trinidad are whole again. No wounds between us, no IMF debt, no West Indies losing to England or Australia or India at cricket. Me and Trinidad are whole again. No Abu Bakr, no curfew. Bobol is thing to laugh at again because Black Stalin's voice is hoarse, but the North Stand is carrying him. Peter, keep the fire blazing. And Pan in A minor is a climax beneath us all. Jit is pastor, preacher, communion, renegades is choir, and we willing submittance to this cult because Kitchener decided to explore the minor chord. Before Brooklyn, before temper, before hurt, we beat Pan before gang fight, before poetry, before debt, beat Pan before kidnappings, before crack, before reconciliation with my father, before eviction, before this rapture and this bruise, this longing to make it up to Trinidad and have Trinidad apologize to me, before wear red and lose to America in football, before 9/11, before cut locks, before these poems, before Bush threatened to cut off aid we never wanted in the first place. It was always Trinidad, always the North Stand, always Kitsch making the Pan singing songs we never knew it had in it. For Kitsch, for the Pan woman, for the Pela woman, for me and a Texan in a hot kitchen in Brooklyn.
I'm not waiting no more for you to finish loving yourself until you figure out how beautiful I am. I'm not waiting for you to love somebody else until you figure out how beautiful I am, because I know already that I'm a descendant of Cleopatra, Isis, Sheba, Nefertiti, Nefertari, Phyllis Wheatley, Jane Cortez, Sonia Sanchez, Maya Angelou, and Aunt Shanita. And queens don't wait. They get waited on. And I want a bucket of sunsets and a golden container of sunrise oil in my bath and sprinkle in both dippers, would you please? I'm not waiting on you no more because I spent my whole life waiting and you only came when it was convenient for you. So I thank you for ushering me into the conveniently wonderful habit of loving myself the way I should have been loving me since the beginning of time, but I was told to wait on you and I did. I waited until I was weary and worn out from waiting. But if I am to be fully alive, celebrating my journey, then my living cannot be an empty, neglected afterthought, a burnt out fuse waiting. I must wait only for the light to change before I cross and for my shadow, come on girl, to accompany me. because queens don't wait. They get waited on. And I want a garden full of sweet red tomatoes and a house full of Easter lilies to acknowledge this new awareness. And I'm not waiting for tomorrow. I'm a queen right this very moment, because queens don't wait. They get waited on. And I don't want the stone to read, "Here lies a female that waited forever." I wanted to read, "Here lies a sister who lived as if her spirit could never, ever, ever, ever die." Because queens don't wait, they get waited on. Queens don't wait, they get waited on. Queens don't wait, queens. Sometimes you have to just move on. And this is how you do it, queens.
I'm William Jelani Cobb, and I'm the author of The Devil and Dave Chappelle and Other Essays. You know, there aren't a lot of places where you get nurtured and where you get to interact with people who are telling the stories that you relate to, stories that, you know, may even, you know, connect with your own life or with your family or your history and so on. And as a young black writer, I remember desperately seeking out role models and seeking out people who could give me information to kind of help me along the way. And, you know, when I came to this conference, as a matter of fact, for the first time, I was like, wow, you know, this is an outlet. This is what I've been looking for. And so it's crucial, it's critical. How else do you bring along the next generation of writers, if not through events like this?
I feel that this conference is important to the entire black world, to the black community locally, let's say here in Brooklyn, as well as in New York and just beyond New York, in the entire United States, to black writers, to students everywhere, and students at Medgar Evers College, but really, as I said, the entire world. And the more black writers from across the world who can attend this conference, I think, the better off we all will be, because we all have a great deal to learn from each other.
Countless days I have encountered this ignorance. This circumstance continues to arrive at my door, settling itself quietly as it marches past my dusty, dirt-covered doormat, welcoming itself without my consent. This ignorance has claimed the present day for its own, has plagued the pleasant day into an unknown. We have allowed this creature to build and form its own armies. These armies have already ridden our homes, have already destroyed our communities. We have an opportunity to step up now and stop it, pop it, and kill it before it gets any further. Not a fan of homicide, not a fan of murder, but in this case could be a table turner, a climax in a story that we call our lives, a turning point in this game that may help us survive the destruction. The corruption in the world, but corruption seems too broad and narrow. Wish I was like David Goliath with his bow and arrow. Oh, wait, was that a rock or a string or a rubber band? It. I wish I had a rubber band big enough to band us all together. However, there's already a plan much more clever, a blueprint shaping up this nation that will do whatever without any hesitation, that has informed the population with false information, and they believe it because people are so naive to believe anything when they're weak-minded. How can I blame them though? Because they're constantly reminded with the things they see on TV and hear on the radio. Although they try to block it out, it's on the streets now too. Walk down any avenue and you will see it, hear it, touch it. Proof that ignorance is bliss. I tried to reminisce on the good old days when gas was only $1 and some change, and you could hit up any store with some change and purchase anything. Now, inflation has occurred, and that's not even an option. Can't even go to the store to buy some milk without having to adopt some more kids, so your welfare check is bigger. Now you've learned the ways of a gold digger, manipulating everyone you meet into giving you some cash, money, cash, dollars. That's the line of tactic. Got you thinking that currency makes up existence. Being fly wasn't just a state of mind, but a way of life. But that way of life is false. You see, being fly was just a technique used by significant others who would speak only to allow corrupted things to leak into the minds of the young ones to make money. Honey, I don't see how you don't see this as funny. It's humorous to me to a tolerable degree. You see, Ignorance has outweighed inevitable truth, and the target is this generation's youth. 08 is said to be the new year for change, but I think revolution is feared. Failure is geared only to urban-produced products, which are us, the future of mankind, but nobody's worried about us, the coming generation. They're too busy worried about other countries' annihilations, fighting other people's battles, and the war will not be won because bombing for peace is like humping for virginity. It makes no fucking sense. It makes no fucking sense. Senseless government officials we have put into office, hardly educated men. I mean, our very own president got seized through college. There's nothing wrong with being a little mediocre, but acknowledge the fact that when having power, it's a problem we need to stay away from. Ambushing the Bush administration is but a dream, so I'm counting 307 more days till he's out of office, and the next president has to clean up the mess. Barack got my vote because Hillary is hilarious. I'm all for feminism, but I'd rather have a president that looked like me. How could it be that intelligence is nowhere to be found? All our young brothers getting caught up in the dog pound, assuming that life is all about fucking girls and getting laid, or playing b-ball like D. Wade or Vince Carter. But only if they had a Coach Carter, or a coach that will coach harder, that will not only teach athletes but coach scholars. It's their fault though, because they grew up without a father, a Don Donna, a mother who didn't bother to check their homework, was too busy drowning herself in her drugs. Typical storyline, same shit, different day. 08 new age. Ignorance is the problem. You say you got the answer? Well, enlighten me. Thank you.
Your definition is only defined by my imagination. I was born of astrology, my words were handpicked from the thoughts of Venus. I am Jupiter. I create black holes when I swing my comet stone sword, perfectly crafted by Mars. Your moon is my pillow, I rest my feet on the stars, and when I stand, the clouds of the heavens become my stepping ground. The very essence of my grace are the flames of solar rays, and a single drip of my tear is enough to raise the rose from concrete. And before I gave the ink to the writers who wrote into the pages of eternity, I planted a single seed from my own garden to give birth to civilization, and I named it Sumer. And when the spring came, I sprang the sphinx never to fall. You see, my years are equivalent to your seconds, so every time I take a breath of cool air, your winter comes. With a single drip of my blood into your water, I will poison mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters, and only the wicked will pass away as memories of myth. In a blink of an eye, I will whisk away your taste for evil in your minds, and then, and only then, you will see me in your reflection, because you are the reflection of me. Thank you.